Hello comic book fans and welcome to Cammy's Comic Corner. As usual, I'm Cammy. Now, gotta put out a spoiler warning. In this podcast, I talk about nothing but spoilers. What's been happening on the books this week, or in events in general. So, if you don't want your book spoiled, don't watch this podcast until you've read your books. Then, green light. But, moving on, pick of the week, we have from DC Comics, Justice Society of America number 14, story by Alex Ross and Jeff Johns, written by Jeff Johns, and art by Dale Eaglesham. Now this is continuing on from the Kingdom Come storyline. In this issue, Sandman can't sleep, because whenever there's trouble going around in the world and there's crimes that he can't solve, it just haunts his dreams. And while he's getting his dreams haunted, Power Girl says, hey, can you maybe help us find Gog? That'll take your mind off things. Because Gog is going around and killing people who claim they are gods. Sure, it's nice to cleanse the world of the religious nuts, but this is going a little too far. Claim you're a god? Well, guess what? If you come across Gog, you'll have a nice big hole in your chest area there. Because he blasts you with his pointy ray gun stick. Anyway, as we come across the League, they're all gathered around a gigantic table, and yet there still aren't enough seats. As Damage notes, there's like 25 of us and only one of him. Sure, he might be exaggerating, but in all reality, there's 23 of them. So he wasn't that far off. But still, insane number of members on this book. Hopefully some of them will be killed off by the end of this arc. Hopefully, for the love of God, because then they'll have to add more pages, and the poor artist, Dale Eaglesham, you're asking too much of him. He can't draw all these characters every page! Leave him alone! But anyway, just as discussions are being discussed around the table, Gog comes out of nowhere, breaks through the room, and ass-kicking pursues. Everyone's trying to get their piece of him. The new cadets are being flung around left and right, and so until it's finally taken out to the streets. Because that's where you want to battle anything, is on the streets. And then a nice little cliffhanger, as two other members from the Kingdom Come universe come and intervene. And that is none other than Alan Scott, the Green Lantern, and his son Obsidian, in the brightest day and in the blackest night, as they both chant. Very good issue, very fun issue. Once again, yeah. Now, on to the Fast Five. First up from Dark Horse, we have B.P.R.D. 1946, number 4. In this issue, the Russians and the Americans are once again teamed up. They're looking for the remaining vampire secret soldier serum subjects, and they find that they're hidden underneath Hitler's hidden bunker. And who's guarding Hitler's hidden bunker? Why, none other than von Klemt himself, the headless, everyone's favorite headless Nazi. Look at him. He's just so full of life and invaders! He's a cool little body. Reminds me of the little guy from Toy Story. Next up, we have Terry Moore's Echo number 2. In the last issue, the secret armor design was blown up in the hemisphere, rains down in millions of pieces, and hits this one girl and forms a little bond on her chest area right here. Well, in this issue, she adds more on to the armor, so it's almost, it's like maybe, I don't know, 5% of it's on her body. But the thing is, whenever doctors touch it, or people who she doesn't trust touch it, it kind of shocks them as a little defense mechanism. Kind of Blue Beetle-esque. And not Ted Kord Blue Beetle, but more Jamie Reyes Blue Beetle, where the armor kind of is thinking for itself. She can't take it off, but people want that armor back. And I'm assuming they're going to do anything they have to get that armor back. Next up, we have Green Arrow Black Canary Adventures number 7. With new art by Mr. Mike Norton, who I'm a very big fan of his work, even though on the cover it says Cliff Chang. Cliff Chang only did the cover, inside did Mike Norton. How dare they make that mistake. Anyway, in this issue, Green Arrow and Black Canary and Speedy, they all go to London. They're looking for the person who sold the fake aliens. If you want the video, Hal Jordan put it up on YouTube. They're the little spaceship. Apparently the guy rents it out, and apparently the League of Assassins seems to be behind it. sure they're just not so happy about the whole sin arrangement in the earlier arcs. It was actually before the wedding special. It was the Black Canary miniseries. Anyway, moving on. Good series, beautiful issue by beautiful art by Mr. Mike Norton. Pick up this issue today. Next up from Marvel, we have Wolverine number 64. Jason Aaron continues his run on Wolverine. We find a little bit more history between Logan and Mystique, and a very interesting way how Wolverine gets into the military base while in the Middle East. Something involving blowing himself up, then getting transported over there in a body bag, giving him time to re-heal. They just claim he's a suicide bomber victim, needs to be identified. In the meantime, he's that much closer to Mystique. It looks like there's going to be a big bloodbath issue that's going to be the arc closer next month. So watch out for this book. And finally, this week we have from Dark Horse, Serenity, Better Days number 2, written by Mr. Joss Whedon. In this issue, well, the last issue they found lots of money. This issue they're talking about what they're going to be doing with all their money. It's fun to see different dream sequences as people are explaining, like, oh, this is what I'm going to do with my money. I'm going to buy a ship, or I'm going to be a captain of a ship. Or if you think like River, which is my favorite dream, she marries a giant fish person in a very magical fairytopia princess kingdom. So it's a very... no one can top that, obviously. But obviously she has quite the exciting little mind. Well, that does it for Cammy's Comic Corner this week. If you want to be a friend of Cammy's Comic Corner, go to myspace.com/Cammy's Comic Corner. Friend us there, and while you're there, you can click on the banner right there to subscribe on iTunes. However, I'm going to be taking that banner down for the next week until I can get the new RSS feed updated. I was over at Blogspot using FeedBurner, and now I'm over at Libsyn, using primarily Libsyn. So until all the things transfer, I might have to delete my precious comments to start anew on the iTunes, but it'll still be up on YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, yada yada yada. So just subscribe there if you want to. You can subscribe your friends behind, whatever. Tune in for a contest next week. I got another trade that I'll be putting up for grabs, and I think all you have to do is help put new comments onto the new iTunes thing. Anyway, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I've been Cammy. Y'all have a week.